Hello, Nelty Campy here, and I'm getting ready to judge the senior walk trot equitation. I think this is the 40 and over, and this is their pattern. They're going to walk to A, back, do a quarter turn on the forehand left, pick up the left diagonal, trotting to the right, change diagonals in the center here, trot a circle around B on the right diagonal. When they hit the center, they're going to break to a sitting trot. When they're even with A, break to a walk this half circle here, and then trot off on the right diagonal one more time. We had 4 entries in this class, and I'm going to take it from the 4th place up. Let's see here. Okay. Our 4th place rider is Kelly. So Kelly starts off, pretty good walk here. Horse marches up, I think a little better than average, so I did plus half the walk. We get in a little trouble with the backup. It's kind of rushed and the horse cocks its head to the right, so I did a minus half on the back. We'll just go through there to keep up on my score sheet. I would have liked to see the horse settle here more and have a settled turn on the forehand. Yeah, I did a minus half on the maneuver score. If it was a little more centered or settled, I could have gotten to a 0 or even a plus maneuver on that. Coming back to our trot here. Trots off, correct diagonal, a 0. Everything here is correct. I'd like to see a little steadier lower leg for a higher score. Good change of diagonals and accurate in the center. Same here, correct circle. So I gave her a 0. I'd like to see a little steadier hand position and lower leg. But I like the forward pace of it. I like the roundness of the circle. So there's plenty of good here. Down to the sitting trot, again, correct, much steadier lower leg in the sitting trot, a 0 maneuver score, and 0 is correct, so nothing wrong with 0. Walking here, again, correct. Maybe a lower leg gets slightly farther ahead, 0 for the walk. Picked up the wrong diagonal there, so I had to do a penalty 5 for missing the diagonal for less than 2 strides, and then a -1 on the maneuver score. So a couple little bobbles in there. I did a 3 for the F and E, and my overall score was a 66.5, and that includes that 5-point penalty, and I had to minus that maneuver score. So without that, we were definitely still above average. Maybe a little bit more patience could be used in the back and in the turn on the forehand. The horse is obviously very broke, and sometimes they just want to do it with or without us. So if we could just slow that down and have the horse wait for you, I could easily raise that score. Coming to our 3rd place was Rachel. Oh, let me get her at the beginning. Okay. Walking up here, getting started. I like the walk. Horse marches on. Good position here, +1. I love the score halt. I could almost go higher than a +1 for that. Backs up correct. Not a ton of speed, but 0. Takes almost a half step back in that turn on the forehand. I still marked it as 0. Steps off promptly on the correct diagonal. I like that, +half. Nice smooth diagonal change. The horse here on the circle dives in a little bit. I like Rachel's overall position, but the horse doesn't make the roundest circle. Gets a little bracy with its head and its neck. Changes speed a little fast and slow, so that was a 0. Comes down to the sitting trot. I also marked that as 0. Good strong lower leg. Hand position gets a little bit forward for me. Correct walk, but she does have to egg him on here to keep him going. 0. Good transition into the trot. Stepped right off on the diagonal. We could definitely see eyes looking up here, so +1, 3 on the F and E for this rider, and an overall score of a 75.5. So we're above average. Nice pattern. No penalties. Could be just a little more accurate in the circles for a higher score, but not a bad pattern at all. Okay, we come to our second place horse, and we've got Michelle here. Walks off. Horse looks pleasant in a nice frame, +1. Rooster's crowing in the background. Great backup here, super light, +2 on the back. Turn on the forehand, kind of steps back around it, correct enough for me for a 0. Steps off on the correct diagonal, +1/2. Gets a little wiggly in the rein, kind of maybe has a moment of unbalance there, switching diagonals. So a 0 for me on this circle. Good lower leg position. Hands could be more steady. Down to the sitting trot, a 0. Same thing, could just be a little steadier in the body. Riding that sitting trot. Walk is correct. Hands kind of get a little uneven, 0 for the walk. Steps off right on the correct diagonal for this last trot. I like the finish of this pattern, +1 for that. I did a 3.5 for the F and E for the rider, maybe a little steadier hand position, but still a final score of a 78. So a nice clean run for walk trot. And again, in these walk trot patterns, there's not a ton of degree of difficulty, so it's hard to get really high on the maneuver scores. Okay, and we come to our first place horse. Get her back to the beginning here. We have Linda. Steps right up here at the walk. It's straight, it's consistent, it's the same every step, +1. Same for the backup. Steady, steady, steady. Every step's the same, +1. Nice turn on the forehand, +1. Steps off on the correct diagonal. Helps keep the horse from cutting in there, showing correct bend, +1. Good diagonal change. Correct bend. Good lower leg. The horse wants to fall in, but the rider's doing a nice job of keeping the circle round, +1. Down to the sitting trot. Really like the lower leg here. And this rider keeps a great line from her elbow to the horse's mouth for her wrist. Nice straight wrist there. I love that. +1 on the walk. Again, super accurate here. Pretty trot off, correct diagonal, +1. This is just a, I don't think I had another pattern today in any of the classes that just straight +1 all the way across there. Everything was correct, above average, consistent, great flow. F and E was a 4 for me, so an 82 for my final score on that. And that's a score that won the class. Nice job, guys.